Hey, Celtics Nation. Today we're diving deep into everything happening with the Boston Celtics. And there's a lot to unpack, especially when it comes to some of the rising stars on this team. Josh Minott has been turning heads this season, and it's not hard to see why. At just 22 years old, he's already hitting career highs in points and rebounds. And even though his assists haven't quite reached the same peak, you can tell the potential is there. What's most impressive is not just the numbers, but the way he impacts the game every time he steps on the floor. His length, athleticism, and relentless energy make him a player that simply can't be ignored. Every time he contributes, whether it's grabbing 15 rebounds or scoring in double digits, you feel that excitement building in Celtics Nation because it's clear that there is so much more to come. Some fans and analysts have started speculating that if Minott continues to improve at this rate, he could eventually price himself out of Boston. The idea is that his growth could be so exponential that the current contract might not be enough to retain him long-term, opening the door for other teams to swoop in with bigger offers. But while that is an interesting discussion, it's important to remember the timeline here. Josh is still in the early stages of his career, and although he is showing flashes of brilliance, there's a lot more to prove before this becomes a real concern. He's learning, adapting, and most importantly, he's thriving in an environment where the coaching staff is invested in his development. Every piece of feedback, every correction from the sidelines, and even those moments of tough coaching are shaping him into a more complete player. He's responding well to guidance, absorbing lessons from more experienced teammates, and building a foundation that could make him a cornerstone for this team if everything continues on the current trajectory. The way he handles both the highs and the lows of this season is also noteworthy. There have been games where he's struggled to find his rhythm, like that matchup against Utah, but instead of letting it affect him, he bounces back. That resilience is rare for a player so young. And when he pairs with Jason Tatum on the court, you start to see a glimpse of what this team could look like in the future. The combination of his energy, defensive presence, and scoring ability adds a new dimension to Boston's play style, creating opportunities that didn't exist before. Minott's ability to contribute in multiple areas, even if his passing game still has room to grow, makes him a player you want to see on the floor more and more. The question of loyalty does come into play because talent like this inevitably attracts attention, but the way he has spoken about Boston suggests that he values the environment, the culture, and the opportunity to develop alongside a championship-contending team. That doesn't guarantee he'll stay forever, but it does indicate that he understands the value of building something meaningful in the right situation. On the other side of the court, Neemish Queta has been quietly showing why he is indispensable to this Celtics roster. Queta's impact is seen in the numbers, in the defensive rating, and in how the team performs when he's on versus off the floor. The Celtics are significantly stronger in nearly every metric with him in the game, especially on defense and rebounding. He's the only player on this team who can consistently protect the rim, challenge shots, and grab critical boards in high-pressure situations. While he may not be a star scorer or a major playmaker, his presence changes the dynamic of the game. Opposing teams have to account for him near the basket, which opens up space for other Celtics players to operate more freely. Queta's size and defensive instincts make him a deterrent, not just a participant, and that makes a huge difference in close games where every possession matters. Even though he is seen as more of a backup center in a fully realized championship roster, Queta's value cannot be overstated. The drop-off when he comes off the floor is clear, and it demonstrates just how pivotal his role is. He might not generate highlight reel dunks or flashy scoring, but his ability to anchor the defense and secure rebounds gives the Celtics a platform to succeed on both ends of the court. The numbers reinforce what fans can see with their eyes. When Queta is performing, the team is performing. This consistency, especially early in the season, is crucial for Boston as they navigate the ups and downs of a long schedule. It's not just about individual stats. It's about how a player elevates the entire squad, and Queta does that with a quiet efficiency that often goes under the radar, but is just as important as any scoring streak or highlight play. When you look at both Minott and Queta, you start to see a fascinating dynamic. Minott is the young, ascending star who could very well become one of the faces of the franchise, while Kata is the stabilizing force, the reliable presence that gives the team balance. Minot brings explosive energy, scoring bursts, and the potential to command attention from other teams as his career progresses. Kata, on the other hand, offers defensive reliability, rim protection, and rebounding prowess, which makes the Celtics far more competitive than they would be otherwise. The contrast between the two styles highlights how basketball is as much about strategy and roles as it is about raw talent. You need players who can score and players who can prevent scoring, and Boston has found a strong mix of both, with these two players contributing in their respective ways. It's also interesting to consider how the broader NBA landscape impacts their development and value. Minot, being young and showing flashes of stardom, has to navigate not just the competition on the court, but also how teams evaluate his potential. While he's still building his reputation, other teams will inevitably start taking note if he continues to improve. That said, his current contract and the Celtics' approach give Boston some control over the situation, providing time to develop him further before any major contract decisions or poaching scenarios become relevant. For Kata, his impact is more immediate but perhaps less flashy in the context of league-wide attention. He's performing in a role that is often underappreciated by casual observers, but for the Celtics, it's vital. Defensive specialists and rim protectors don't always get the headlines, but they are essential for contending teams, and Kata's presence ensures that Boston can compete against the best in high-pressure situations. Looking ahead, the development of both players will be critical for Boston's trajectory this season and beyond. If Minot continues on his current path, he could transform into a cornerstone player alongside Tatum, creating an exciting duo that could define the next era of Celtics basketball. Meanwhile, Kata's continued performance provides the defensive backbone necessary to support that growth. Together, they represent a microcosm of what Boston needs: a combination of emerging talent, stability, and players who understand their roles and execute them consistently. This balance between youthful potential and established reliability could be what propels the Celtics deeper into the playoffs and gives fans reason to believe in a long-term plan that is not just about one or two stars, but about a cohesive team that can sustain success over multiple seasons. Continuing with the Celtics story, one of the most fascinating aspects this season is watching how Josh Minot's role continues to evolve. What makes him so intriguing is not just his ability to score or grab rebounds, but the way he's starting to understand the flow of the game at a high level. At 22, he is learning how to read defenses, how to move without the ball, and how to time his energy to maximize impact for Boston. It's not always consistent yet, of course. There are still games where shots don't fall or turnovers creep in, but the trajectory is unmistakable. You can see it in how the coaching staff adjusts their schemes when he's on the floor, finding ways to get him involved without overexposing him to mistakes. Minot is slowly becoming the kind of player who doesn't just rely on athleticism, but begins to manipulate situations to his advantage, which is what separates a good player from a truly elite one. Another layer of the Minot story is how his relationship with teammates and the coaching staff influences his growth. In the moments after games, in locker room interactions, and in private coaching sessions, he is clearly soaking in lessons and responding in a way that shows maturity beyond his age. He's receptive to critique, whether it's a subtle nudge during practice or a more pointed discussion about decision-making in the game. That willingness to learn, coupled with his raw talent, creates a powerful combination. Boston fans should be excited because this is the foundation for a player who could grow into a star while still keeping a team-first mentality. There's a sense that he understands the value of the Celtics system and the potential long-term payoff of sticking with an organization that prioritizes both winning and development. Shifting focus to Nimish Kata, the conversation isn't just about his stats, though they are impressive. Kata's real value lies in how he alters the rhythm of a game defensively. When he's on the floor, the Celtics' spacing and defensive rotations function at a higher level, simply because opponents have to account for his presence. He may not create highlight reel plays on offense, but his ability to anchor the paint, contest shots, and control rebounds directly translates to better opportunities for everyone else on the team. The Celtics' defensive rating with him in the lineup is a clear indicator that he's doing more than just filling a role. He's actively shaping outcomes in ways that might not always show up in a basic box score. In short, Kata might not be flashy, but his impact is undeniable. This dynamic between Minot and Kata highlights an important theme for Boston: balance. Minot represents the explosive, high-upside talent that could grow into a franchise cornerstone. Kata is the stabilizing presence who ensures that the team's performance doesn't fluctuate wildly. Together, they illustrate the Celtics' broader approach, blending rising stars with reliable veterans or role players to build a team that can contend in the Eastern Conference while planning for sustainable success. The interplay between their skill sets creates opportunities and cushions risks, which is exactly what a team needs when navigating the grind of an NBA season. Contract discussions also add an extra layer of intrigue. While Minot is still on a rookie-scale contract that Boston controls to a large extent, the conversations about his future inevitably arise because of his potential trajectory. If he continues to improve at this pace, other teams could begin to notice, and, at some point, a financial decision may be required. However, it's not just about money. It's about fit and timing. Boston has the advantage of controlling his development and offering a competitive environment where he can thrive alongside established stars. For Kata, the situation is different but equally interesting. His value as a defensive anchor may not translate to the same headline-grabbing contracts, but the team recognizes his importance. If they want to maintain a balanced roster and ensure the defensive core remains strong, keeping players like Kata in the rotation becomes a priority, whether through extension or careful management of minutes and responsibilities. Beyond individual contracts, team strategy plays a crucial role in these discussions. Boston is at a stage where they are trying to contend immediately, but also thinking about the long term. That means managing cap space, evaluating the development of young players like Minot, and ensuring role players like Kata are used optimally without overextending financially. Contending teams often face the challenge of balancing star salaries with supporting cast contributions, and Boston's current roster is a prime example. They have rising talent that could become expensive down the line, but they also have players who provide value well above their cost. Navigating that landscape successfully requires a combination of foresight, patience, and sometimes creative roster management. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The NBA world is in shock tonight after an explosive rumor began circulating that could reshape the league as we know it. Sources, whose credibility is yet to be fully confirmed, claim that superstar Kevin Durant has agreed to join the Boston Celtics, sending ripples of disbelief across social media and sports talk shows alike. If true, this would mark one of the most seismic moves in recent basketball history, placing Durant alongside Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in what could become one of the most feared offensive trios in the league. Fans and analysts alike are scrambling to make sense of the implications. Durant, a two-time NBA champion and former league MVP, has long been a player whose decisions can tilt the balance of power in the Eastern Conference. Rumors suggest that negotiations were quietly conducted over the past few weeks, with Celtics management working tirelessly to craft a deal that could lure one of the game's most accomplished scorers to Boston. While the details remain murky, sources hint at a complex combination of trades and salary cap maneuvering. The very idea of Durant donning green and white has already sparked heated debates. The timing of this alleged deal adds fuel to the speculation. The Celtics, who have long been contenders but have struggled to capture the elusive championship in recent years, would instantly transform into a serious threat to any team in the NBA. Meanwhile, Durant's former team is reportedly in a state of confusion, with insiders suggesting that the star forward's departure could trigger a domino effect of trades and roster shakeups. Social media erupted almost immediately, with fans expressing a mix of excitement, disbelief, and anxiety. Memes, hot takes, and wild scenarios flooded Twitter, all imagining a Boston team with Durant's lethal scoring ability. While the league has yet to release any official confirmation, the mere whisper of Durant heading to Boston is enough to dominate headlines. Executives, players, and fans are now left waiting, eyes glued to potential press conferences or statements that could either confirm or deny this jaw-dropping move. If the reports prove accurate, the NBA landscape might never look the same again, and the Celtics could suddenly find themselves in the center of a championship storm unlike anything the East has seen in years. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.